Mockery of a mother. The Galactic Senate chamber shimmered with opulence. Floating platforms, columns of radiant crystal, and diplomat from 100 worlds seated in tiers of cosmic authority. Above them, the great dome of the chamber displayed stars rotating slowly, symbol of the Empire's dominion across the known galaxy. And yet, all eyes turned toward the least welcome figure in the room. General Elira Voss stood alone in the center dais, her iron-gray uniform crisp, her back ramrod straight, and her face a sculpted mask of control. The only human in the chamber, surrounded by sneering reptilians, shimmering gelatinous orators, and clicking insectoid delegates. The Galactic Empire had allowed her to speak as a gesture of diplomatic process, though none believed it would mean anything. Certainly not Emperor Zarnith, whose colossal throne floated above the dais like a predator looming over prey. A creature of ageless power, crowned in synthetic starlight and cloaked in the arrogance of 1,000 conquered systems. From his throne, Zarnith chuckled, a deep, resonant vibration that made the walls hum. "You bring us a human soldier," he said mockingly, "a female of a primitive world, here to explain herself after striking one of our colonies. Is Earth out of diplomats, or do they believe war dogs now make better statesmen?" The laughter echoed. The Senate chamber erupted in scornful amusement. Hundreds of species, all united in derision. Elira stood unmoved. Her eyes, the color of storm clouds over the Baltic, swept the crowd without blinking. From the side, Lord Captain RYSS, the Threxian military official responsible for the Delphi V incident, smirked behind his polished tusks. "You overreacted, human," he said. "You launched a fleet assault on an administrative colony in Sector 9, a little spitball planet. Your retaliation was excessive." "Excessive?" Boss asked softly. "For what?" RYSS shrugged. "We were conducting a standard realignment. The colony was non-compliant. We issued 3 warnings. When they refused to integrate, we neutralized the threat. It's not personal, it's protocol." Again, laughter, more muttering among the Senate. Why are the humans so emotional? Why can't they understand power? Senator Caluan, a serpentine creature with 6 eyes and a forked tongue, spoke next. "General Voss, Earth's retaliation destroyed a supply chain node vital to our imperial border. 7,000 imperial citizens perished in your strike. You will explain yourself now, or Earth may face military sanctions." That's when Voss stepped forward. Her voice cut through the chamber, not with volume, but with precision. Clear, chilling. "Before I answer, let me ask a question of my own." A murmur of confusion. Zarnith narrowed his eyes. "Speak, human." Voss raised her eyes and looked directly at RYSS. "Who destroy my daughters?" Silence. The entire room froze. The phrase hung in the air like the void of space. Heavy, suffocating, and endless. Voss didn't blink. Delphi V was a humanitarian colony. No weapons. No fortifications. My daughters were there. Twin sisters. Scientists. Officers under UN command. They were leading peaceful negotiations with your surveyors when your forces descended. She raised her wrist unit. The chamber lights dimmed. A hologram unfolded. Footage. Grainy. Real. Children screaming. Civilians running. Plasma bolts lancing through unarmed workers. Buildings reduced to rubble. A young woman, blonde, covered in ash, crouched over a crying child. A flash. Then darkness. A soft, terrified voice whispered through the chamber. "Mom! Mom, help!" The screen cut to black. There was no laughter now. Some senators looked down. Others shifted uncomfortably. A few tried to whisper apologies to one another. Emperor Zarnith remained unmoved. "Collateral damage," he said, his voice dry. "It happens. Such is the price of resistance." Voss's face tightened just slightly. Her knuckles whitened behind her back. "They were not resisting," she said. "They were planting trees." No one responded. "You mock humanity. You always have. You think us crude, emotional, savage." Her gaze swept the room. "But you forget what those emotions become when scorched. When grief becomes fury. When loss becomes resolve. You didn't destroy a military outpost, Lord RYSS. She looked up at him with eyes full of storms. You murder my daughters. RYSS opened his mouth, perhaps to object, perhaps to apologize. But he said nothing. And you mocked me, she said, her voice soft again. A general, yes, but also a mother. That was your final mistake. A tremor moved through the floor. The senators looked around. Voss tapped her wrist again. This time, a new hologram displayed a slow, sweeping rotation of Earth's outer orbital space. Hundreds of black shapes came into view, angular, menacing, bristling with energy. These are not peacekeeping vessels, she said calmly. These are not diplomatic ships. This is the Revenant fleet. Panic spread. Some senators stood. Others began whispering frantically into private comms. We've waited, Voss said, voice sharpening. We've waited while you dismissed our rights, while you laughed at our losses, while you erased our people from your records. But today, I erase your illusions. A shriek of alert tones echoed through the chamber. Empire command ships were being locked onto across 3 systems. Defensive grids were going offline. The AI security protocols were already compromised. She turned to Emperor Zarnith. This is not war, Your Highness. It's consequence. She turned to leave, but paused at the edge of the dais. You call me a soldier, but you forgot I was something far more dangerous. She looked back once more. You forgot I was a mother. The door slammed shut behind her. Elira Voss walked into the corridor, her boots echoing like war drums. Behind her, the Empire began to tremble. The storm she brought. The stars over the Eridani conflux burned blue and white. But one by one, their light disappeared behind the silent silhouettes of approaching warships. The Revenant fleet had arrived. 15 dreadnoughts, over 200 cruisers, stealth corvettes so advanced they distorted reality when cloaked. Earth had kept its full military evolution hidden for decades, its pain and paranoia forging weapons not just for defense, but for reckoning. And now, General Elira Voss sat in command aboard the UNS Revenant, surrounded by the thunder she had unleashed. Her eyes locked onto the image of Lord Captain RYSS's fortress station, the last stronghold of the alien responsible for her daughter's deaths. Status, she ordered. Argus, Earth's fleet AI. A cold, calm voice with no inflection answered immediately. Orbital mines deployed. Enemy communications scrambled. Kinetic rails locked. Awaiting command. She nodded. Fire. From orbit, metallic rods, simple, unassuming, yet devastating, descended silently. No explosions. No energy fields. Just velocity and physics. 3 seconds later, the station's primary defense dome vanished in a flash of compressed fury. Elira stood, her voice a low whisper. They will not mock our dead again. Flashback, 6 months earlier. Her daughter Lyra Voss, barely 25, had just sent her final message. We've made contact with the Threxian envoys. They seem cautious, but curious. I think they've never really seen humans before, Mom. Not like this. Not planting crops. Not singing lullabies to Threxian children. Maybe we can make them understand. Maybe things can change. She had smiled in the recording. Beautiful. Brave. Hopeful. Tell everyone back home. We're making peace. Real peace. That message was received 2 hours before the massacre. Back in the present, the remnants of Fortress Station crumbled in vacuum. General Voss gave no speeches, no declarations, only orders. The Revenant fleet moved on. 3 systems fell in 5 days. The Arxis defense grid, considered invulnerable by the Galactic Empire, was taken offline in 4 minutes by Argus infiltrating its command relays. Planetary governors screamed for help as their orbital foundries disintegrated in coordinated strikes. Human Marines, outfitted with exocarbon armor and neural response reflex systems, descended silently. They did not raise flags. They did not plant banners. They burned nothing unnecessary. They took only those complicit. One by one, Imperial command structures collapsed. No demands, no negotiations, just justice. Broadcasted silence. On the 6th day, the Revenant halted over Velker Prime, the communication hub of the Inner Empire. The Empire tried to jam Earth signals. Argus overrode them. Across 1,000 worlds, screens flickered from propaganda to a single message. Who destroyed my daughters? Then, images. Delphi V, civilian blood. Alien boots on human necks. Then, images of Earth's retaliation. Clean, swift, decisive. And finally, General Elira Voss's face, gray-eyed and unmoving. Humanity does not ask for forgiveness. We demand remembrance. Emperor Zarnith's escape. By the time the fleet reached the Empire's core world, the throne was empty. Emperor Zarnith had fled into the outer dark aboard a prototype stealth vessel, his remaining guards torn apart by civil unrest before he even reached his ship. His cowardice was broadcast across the Empire. In his absence, lesser emperors argued among themselves. Old rivalries rekindled. Sectors rebelled. The illusion of unity cracked. And through it all, Earth's fleet remained motionless, hovering not as conquerors, but as executioners waiting for the verdict of history. The trial of Lord Captain RYSS. He was found hiding in a collapsed mining facility on Cormel V, trying to bribe his way into obscurity. They dragged him in shackles before Voss aboard the Revenant. He looked older, broken. "General, I never meant for it to happen that way." "You called it a protocol," she replied. "Do you want to see what human protocol looks like?" She let the silence hang, then shook her head. "No, your death would be meaningless. Instead, you will live." He looked up confused. In exile, alone, no food, no comms, on a moon so cold your bones will scream in the night. His eyes widened. "That's inhuman." Voss stared at him coldly. "No, it's exactly human." She turned away as he was dragged out. The occupation without chains. When the Revenant fleet entered Imperial core orbit, there were no defenses left to fight them. Alien civilians watched in silent awe as Earth's Marines descended, not to destroy, but to install courts, medical hubs, translators, and broadcast hubs. The first proclamation was not a declaration of conquest, but of justice. "We do not seek your servitude. We demand your honesty. Stand trial for what you allowed. Rebuild what you broke. And never again erase the suffering of those beneath your boots." A monument was raised at the heart of the capital. Dove, to the lost voices of Delphi V, and the wrath that answered. Dove. Epilogue home. Earth was quiet under soft starlight as General Elira Voss returned. She walked alone through the Garden of Echoes, a serene place filled with whispering trees and holographic blossoms. At its center stood two statues, young women, hands clasped, smiling forever in silent bronze. Her daughters. She placed her hand against the base of the sculpture. "Close her eyes." "It's done," she whispered. "The galaxy knows your names now." She didn't cry. She couldn't. The tears had burned away long ago, replaced by flame and steel. But for a moment, she let herself sit beneath the trees. And for the first time in years, the silence around her was not cold. It was peaceful. White medium star, final note. Humanity was mocked. A mother was broken. But vengeance made the galaxy remember. Never underestimate Earth. Never forget a mother's grief.